It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back to another installment of the Culinary Hotline Bling. Ching! Yes! We're joined by one of our favorites. It's Clem Chef in the building. And if you have any questions for Chef Clem on all things in the kitchen, culinary conundrums, don't matter what the question is, we're here to serve you. And you can call us right now. It's 021 110 552 because we're coming at you with all the tips of the day. Chef Clem, welcome, man. How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you doing?
Always good when I get to spend time with you in the kitchen, man. It's time to get educated. I can't wait. What are you going to be doing for us? What do you got prepared? I know the numbers on the line are going to be popping off, so you've got a nice array of things. How's your cooking been this week?
This week?
Yeah.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, please.
I feel like chefs and cooks on TV don't talk about this enough.
Yeah?
I made this amazing rice dish last night and it flopped.
Yes, you're a human being.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was bleak. I was just out of it. And you know what? I was actually really happy because it's only a failure if you don't learn from it.
Yes, this is true.
And I learned something new. So hopefully when the question does come around about that rice and doing something specifically, I know the answer now. So I'm feeling good.
I like your transparency, man. I think Mzansi needs that because they literally think that you are perfect with everything you do in the kitchen. And generally you are, but it's nice to see that you're still human too. I like that.
There we go. How's your cooking been?
It's been okay, man. It's been, I haven't had the time that I wish I could have spent into my meal, so it's just been like flash.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm eating. I'm healthy, so we're good. And I
there,
get to steal some of the food on the show, so that always helps too.
Hey, sharing's caring. We actually do have a caller. I wonder if she's on the line now.
Hey, let me use the mobile because things are a bit different now.
Guys,
it doesn't ring.
We are looking for a new phone. We don't know what happened to our phone. We've just got this right now. So if you would like to donate a phone to... No, just joking. Keep your phone.
This is cool because I think we got it on Zoom, so I'm just using this for the voice. But we can actually see it right now. So let's say a good morning to Hasina in the building, all the way from Cravenby, northern suburbs, Cape Town. How are you doing this morning, you beautiful soul? Hello?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning to everyone there in the studio. I'm very well, thank you, and excited to be on the show this morning.
It's always a pleasure having someone from the other side, someone that is a part of our family that we get to chat to. And of course, Chef Clem is here to serve you. So I'm sure you have a culinary conundrum that we are here to sort out. What do you have for Clem this morning? What are your questions?
Well, I thought I'll ask the experts. I often struggle with a rich, creamy cheese sauce for a mac and cheese bake. You know, often I use the recipe ratios, but it either turns out to be too thick once it's baked, then the actual completed dish is a bit stodgy, or it remains runny. So I'm not sure where I'm going wrong. Right. So I'd like to get help and guidance in that direction in terms of the correct ratio to the ingredients.
All right. So just to make sure, am I pronouncing the name correctly? Is it Hasina or Hasina?
It's Hasina.
All right, Hasina.
With the double E.
Love the question.
On the double E.
Chef Clem has been listening attentively, and I'm sure I can really see in his eyes, the minute he has an answer, it's just the smile comes on his face. He's ready to tackle it. What do you got for us, man?
Okay, so mac and cheese. There's actually a few ways to make it. There's a bechamel, and then there's a cheat version where you do cheese dust and a little bit of corn flour. Right. Then you get the version where they actually make like a bit of a royale with a bit of egg in it.
Oh, yeah. Like bind it together, yeah.
We're gonna go the easier, or the more traditional route of the bechamel. And a bechamel is equal ratios of fat. We're gonna use butter and flour. Okay, so we've got our butter malted. What I find is that is 500 grams of pasta. I find that usually 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour to 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter is a good amount, a good ratio, to get that really nice, silky, velvety cheese sauce texture.
Okay.
I say 2 to 3 because flour is not the same, like different brands are different. Sometimes you'll find that the flour is very powdery, very fine, versus the next brand that'll be a little more coarse. And that will change your ratio of how much flour to butter you actually need.
Kind of feel it out within that 2 to 3 range.
Absolutely.
All right.
So I've got my butter in there, and I've already started melting it gently. So I'm going to get it back on the heat. And the thing is, you don't want to go high heat. You don't want to brown your butter. You just want to get it melted. Okay. Once you do, you're going to go in with your flour. Very, very, very important. At this stage, once you add your flour, what you're going to do, you have to cook out that flouriness that you get from flour. Okay.
And I see you've left a little bit over. That's obviously to allow you to add, to change the consistency. if need
Absolutely,
be.
absolutely.
Okay.
So once you get your flour into your butter, you're gonna give it a mix. And you don't have to panic too much because there's some scientific magic that happens the way that the fat bonds to the flour that kind of stops it from going lumpy. Even though it looks lumpy now, the more I mix it, it's gonna just break
Science.
up. You can see, there we go. It started to just break up and it's become one mixture.
Oh, yeah.
When you add the flour in, like I said, you have to cook it. You have to cook out the flour in this. And that sounds weird because if you read in the recipe, you're like, how do I cook out flour? I just put the flour in. It's that powderiness you're trying to get rid of. And the best way to know that you've gotten rid of that is when you actually start smelling it. It smells a little biscuity.
Okay,
Yeah,
that means
so-
they're combined and they've really like infused together. I like that.
Absolutely. So, okay, give it a little whisk. And my other ingredients, today we're gonna go decadent. Normally I would use milk at home, but I wanna go cream. Extra decadence.
I think Asina's going to like that as well, especially for any meal that she's preparing. Asina, are you going to be preparing this for your guests maybe, or is it just for the family?
Mainly for my son, my eldest son who loves mac and cheese. His name is Ramiz.
Okay, I think
So
Ramiz is...
often he comes from work and he says, make me a mac and cheese, so I need a quick recipe. So I like what I'm seeing and hearing.
Also, Asina, you and I had a little chat before the segment started, and Asina said she's got some traditional Indian recipes.
Oh, really?
And it's so weird, the things you just say and speak out, and I was actually saying to myself the other day, I want someone to teach me how to make like proper traditional Indian recipes.
So this is like a collab potentially, right?
And Asina was like, she was actually willing to come onto the show to like do some traditional
we'd
recipes. I
love
think
to
that's
have you,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we should start a series like teaching Clem your family favorites, or your traditional recipes. I think that's something we should do. I
Cooking
think
with Clem, I like that.
yeah. I dig it.
That
I think
could work, man.
There we go. I think it'd be totally
Clem,
cool.
I'll teach you how to make a nice like protein shake.
Ah,
That's my specialty.
and with a NutriBullet, just NutriBullet, everything. No, I dig that. Though. I
But
dig
Asina,
that.
I would love for you to come through on the show. Of course, we'll maybe try to arrange that. But for now, your first step, of course, is to pay attention to this recipe. We're making a bougie mac and cheese sauce, and I hope Ramiz is going to be ever grateful for the fact that you've been listening and paying attention, because I know you're not going to mess it up after seeing this.
No, you will
'Cause this
not.
so far is pretty simple.
Pretty
I
simple,
think.
pretty
Yeah.
simple. And what I want to say is, when you are doing this at home, and if it is your first time doing it, don't be talking to people and like everything. Keep your eye on the pot.
Okay.
Okay.
Asina,
And-
you hear that? You got to focus, eh? Concentrate. No talking to the kids.
I'm sorry, I can see it.
Only thing you're allowed to do is watch the show.
Only thing I had to do. No, you gotta keep your eye on the pot. Okay, so I've added my cream. The thing is now, right? What you want to do before I say, oh, that looks too runny, let me add more flour. You don't really want to add the flour now because then you might get some lumps. If your sauce is too runny, I've got the best hack for you.
Okay.
And you are gonna add some flour to it to thicken it.
Yeah.
Take some butter and just soften it. Take some flour and you mix the two together to make a paste. You add that paste into there, because like I said, the fat bonds the flour and stops it from going lumpy.
yes.
You make the buttery flour paste, you put that in there, then it'll start thickening. But we're not gonna do anything to this. Even though it looks a bit runny now, we're not gonna do anything, because flour will only start thickening the sauce once it heats up. So you're looking at this and you're just adding flour. In the end, you're gonna end up with wallpaper paste. Don't do that. Okay, so keep an eye on that. That's gonna start heating up. Now, the cheese today. I can't tell you what cheese you can't add to a mac and cheese. I've seen situations when I was a student at chef school, I've seen the students that lived on res even use cheese spread.
Okay.
And it made a banging mac and cheese. Use whatever cheese you like, okay?
So, Clem, before we get into the cheese, because I know there's a lot of concentration that needs to go into this, I know we've got another part about this. Obviously, you and Zanzi can check out expressoshow.com to get some of these tips right now. Chef Clem is just moving on to the cheese. We'll chat about that in just a bit because the culinary conundrum does continue. We'll catch you in a moment and see you in the kitchen soon.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, another edition. It's the Culinary Hotline. Blink, ching, ching, ching. And of course, we're carrying on from previously. And also last week, we had a couple of guests that had some questions and conundrums. Darren came through. He struggled with something called acne. I know a lot of us in South Africa will be very familiar with that. And we had some questions for Chef Clem that came in. And of course, Clem served up some good advice, right?
Darren was a legend, though. I can't wait to get Darren back in the kitchen. Yeah, so we helped Darren with his acne, but I believe there are quite a few more questions about
So
it.
many questions, man, because Bruce Williams came in and said, what type of rice must I use for making acne? On top of that, Kim Andrews also wants to know, when I make biryani, it always burns. What can I do?
Okay, wait, that's similar. I can actually answer that because of my
Okay.
experience last night.
Okay.
So those two?
Yeah.
Halfway.
So if there's another one coming, but you can start
Right.
for now.
So when you go to a place, like Indian restaurant or the takeaway places, and you get biryani or akni, most of the time they use basmati or jasmine. Those are
Basmati or
traditional
jasmine,
ones.
okay.
However, at home, if you have normal like specco long grain rice, use it. It'll work. It's delicious. It's just a different texture that you get with the basmati and the jasmine. It's a little longer, but those are the main rices that you can use. Essentially, what you're looking for is a long grain rice.
Long grain, all right.
Don't use short grain. Short grain would be your bomba and your bori, or the things that you end up using for paella or for risotto. Don't use those. Use a long grain rice. The most important thing is wash your rice. That's all you have to do. That's a very important step. So.
And that's without soap and stuff, right? It's just
Zoe Brown and mince and
let's not
rinsing your mince.
forget.
You don't use soap. You just use water and you just pop it in a bowl, massage your rice, and you'll notice the water will turn extremely murky. Strain off that murkiness and basically do it until the water's like almost clear.
Almost clear, all right.
If you don't, what happens is the excess starch on there makes the rice clump together, and you're gonna get mushy rice, and you don't want that.
Okay.
Next question.
Nice.
Her biryani burned.
Yes.
So what happened to me last night, I made a seafood rice dish, and I made quite a big portion of it, and I cooked it on a ceramic stovetop, and I learned last night, it's a new one, that it heats up and then goes off, and then heats up and goes off. That's not what you really want to have happen with rice.
Okay.
If you have a temperamental stove that you're not too confident with when you're cooking rice, what you do is, once you bring it up to a heat where you see a bit of steam, or even if you're cooking rice, it starts bubbling, pop the lid on, put it in the oven. That way you're getting an even heat distribution from all around.
Beautiful.
It's more controlled.
Yes.
Versus being on the stove, we're getting one heat source.
From the bottom, and it's going to work all the way
From
through.
the bottom to the top. Yeah. In the oven.
To the
In the oven. Pop it in the
Beautiful
oven.
stuff. Clem, we've got another question coming through. We have so many questions. We
I'm
couldn't choose
here,
them all.
I'm here.
But Petronella McCullum says, Chef Clem, can I make the akni without the milk with the buttermilk?
Oh, yeah, that was the word we learned. Cutting milk is buttermilk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason we did that was to just add a little bit of flavor and help it tenderize. But we also used chicken thighs. I think we used chicken thighs last week. You don't have to. You could use yogurt. But if you don't have yogurt, don't have buttermilk, don't do it. It's perfectly fine. Just make sure you still marinate your chicken in those spices before you put it into your dish.
Okay, nice
I
stuff,
want more
man.
questions.
Yeah, look,
okay, look at that.
plenty
Here we
of
go.
questions coming through, of course. Hey, and the phone is ringing. The new mobile edition.
The mobile edition.
Good morning. This is the Culinary Hotline Bling. Who is calling, and how may I help you? Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Who may I ask is calling?
You're speaking to Shamini.
Shamina, how's it going? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Johannesburg.
All the way in Jersey. How's it going on your side of the world?
Cold and rainy.
Don't worry, we are here to warm your day up and help you out with any conundrum that you do have. So Chef Clem is here, the specialist. You have him at your beck and call. What is the question or conundrum that you have for him today?
Well, I've been trying to make paella and I just cannot get it right. The rice just gets completely soaked up and I just don't get it right.
All right, so she needs to get her paella right. And what is it exactly that you're struggling with your paella? May I ask again?
Well, the rice, I don't know how to cook the thing properly. I do it with a mix and it never ever comes out right.
Okay, so I think the rice is the biggest issue here that she's wanting to deal with. How to cook it correctly, especially when you're making paella.
So for me, what you're gonna do is when we cook rice, don't worry, I'm just
I was like, are you gonna hit me with it?
For me, when you cook paella, sorry, I got some cheese sauce in there now. Often we end up cooking it in a pot, but that's not the best way to do it. So what you need to do, again, this is where you try and use a short grain rice.
Okay, short grain rice
we just
for your
spoke about that.
paella. Okay, yeah.
Bomba rice is the traditional one, but we don't really get a lot of it in South Africa. We have to import it. So arborio rice, risotto rice works beautifully here, okay? So what you're gonna do is when you get all the ingredients into your pan, you're gonna get your stock into your pan, and I suggest using a pan, a nice big pan's got a nice amount of surface area. Get your stock, get your ingredients in there, and then you add your rice to your pan. What's gonna happen, because you've got a larger surface area, it's gonna evaporate a lot faster, okay? And that is actually the trick. When it sits in the pot, it just takes too long to evaporate, and you end up overcooking your rice. It takes a bit too mushy. When you do it like this, and you do it in a pan, no lid, just let it do its thing, you end up evaporating more water, you get beautiful textured rice, and that for me is the absolute trick to cooking paella. Also, paella cooks on that absorption method, so which means you're adding your rice to hot liquid, and as soon as it hits that liquid, it's going to start absorbing the moisture, and then you just got to cook off some of that moisture, and you're done. You know what? I'm loving all these rice questions. I honestly feel like we need to do a proper rice culinary hotline, and if you'd like that, let us know on Facebook. But rice is such an important ingredient to work with. I mean, it feeds nations, yet there are so many questions about it because even me, like last night, had a flop with rice. You're just constantly learning about how to cook rice, and I love these questions. So we'll actually do it. We'll actually do a nice paella on the show for you so I can demonstrate how to do it.
Thanks for coming through with that question. That was incredible. I hope you have some more confidence with your paella. Are you going to be attempting to make another dish? Shanice, you still there? I think she's watching the TV. She can't even concentrate on us.
I don't blame her.
That's a job well done, though, Clem. And I do agree with you, especially when it comes to the different types of rices. We take it for granted that rice is rice.
Exactly.
And it just needs to be boiled and a little bit of salt and bala, you're done. Kind of like bread. Just make bread, put it in the toaster. But there's so many different types, and I'm loving the fact that we actually have an opportunity to kind of like dive into that and really discover what it is that is the perfect pairing with certain rices. So I love your idea about let's dive into rice and really unpack it because it can be intimidating, and it's so essential to getting your dish right. And you're doing a dish right now? Are you still finishing off our cheese sauce from earlier?
We talked so much on the segment, and I absolutely love it. So what I did was I finished the cheese sauce. One thing I added was a little bit of nutmeg.
Yes.
A little bit of nutmeg just kind of like adds a bit of attitude to your cheese sauce. I used some very mature cheddar, and I used a very nice, delicious Parmesan cheese. Those are my two cheeses I chose, but you can at home use whatever you like. One thing I did though, I didn't use my cheese sauce immediately. If I did not put a piece of plastic wrap on the surface of the actual sauce, the sauce would form like a skin.
Like skin, that layer, yes.
If you pop the cling wrap directly on top of the sauce, it won't happen.
Like literally on the sauce itself, not like a lid, but like on it.
Not on the pot. Literally physically touching the sauce and pressing down.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's what I did, and that's another tip for you at home. If you're going to make a cheese sauce ahead of the time, use that method.
At home, head over to our website, expresso.com. It's on your strap lines right now on the screen. You can head over there for this inspiration. Of course, Chef Clem is coming through. He's just advised us on how to do a nice mac and cheese sauce. Earlier on, we obviously spoke about the mac and cheese sauce, and I believe he's got another rendition
do we have time?
of the cheese sauce.
Do we have time?
Man, why not?
Nice.
I don't know. We can wrap this up in like a minute.
Okay, cool. In a minute, I can do it.
Yeah.
So in here, I've got a little bit of milk. This is a cheats version of it, and it works really well. On Friday, Zoe and I made nachos. We're talking about nacho cheese.
Yeah.
This is the cheese you'll do if you want to make nacho cheese. Milk is on there. You could do it. So I've got some cheddar for you there. You can kind of combine the two cheddars. That's fine.
Yeah. Pop that in there.
Yeah, mix it up.
Sweet.
A little bit of, maybe add half that corn flour for me.
Half the corn flour.
What's going to happen is the corn flour coats the cheese.
Okay.
And when you add it to the milk, as it gradually starts heating up, it makes the most delicious velvety cheese sauce, okay?
Oh, wow,
but it's for that instant satisfaction. You're not going to want to make this ahead of time. You make it, because it's so quick to make, you make it like literally just a few minutes before you need it. This, over nachos, you're done. You're done, okay.
Boom. Simple as that.
Amazing.
Okay.
So into the milk, we're going to go. Before you add salt, let your cheese completely melt into your milk. Whatever cheese sauce you're making.
Okay.
Cheese can sometimes be a little salty. Then you add salt and then you're done because it's too salty. So before you add salt, let all your cheese melt and you're good to go. That's gonna melt, that's gonna come together. Pour it over some cauliflower and broccoli. Why is our bowl a little empty? We've been snacking.
We've been snacking,
We've
man.
been
We've
snacking.
been snacking on the show. Chef Clem, thank you so much. Another rendition of the Culinary Hotline. Bling, ching, ching, ching. And thank you so much for coming through, Mzansi, and all those questions. I hope we served you, and I hope you're making delicious food tonight.
Wash your rice.